think we're hard.
Yeah. Now we start.
And that was only half of it.
No worries.
It was only half of it.
Yeah, it was. It's just the first. You're going to get better with time.
Mm.
That's why I told you that the first couple of four tests that I gave you was just a brief introduction to drill you and to warm up.
Yes.
Good. Now we start working on interesting things. All right. So all you do is that you identify the questions where you had challenges and we tackle them one after the other. So we start from question one.
Yes.
Good. Question one says 1 over 256 to the power 0.75 divided by 16 to the power negative 0.5. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So remember that 0.75 is the same thing as 3 over 4, and 0.5 is the same thing as half. So we can
Mm-hmm.
write this as 1 over 256 to the power 3 over 4 divided by 1 over 16 to the power half. You agree?
Yes.
Also, 4 to the power 4 equals to 256. Is that true?
Yes.
So we can say 1 over 4 to the power 4 times 3 to the power 4 divided by 1 over 4 to the power 2, 1 over 2. You agree?
Mm-hmm.
Then we
Yes.
have 4 times 3 over 4. This cancels out, you are left with 3. So this will give you 1 over 4 to the power 3 divided by, you have 2 times half equals to 1.
Mm.
So you have 1 over 4. So from this, you're going to have 1 and 4 over 3 times 1 times 4 over 1.
Mm-hmm.
And this will give you 1 over 4 squared,
Diversity.
which is 1 over 16. So answer A.
Okay.
Now for the
Okay.
Bocconi, you know that you're not allowed to use a calculator. I will ask you to
Yes.
learn your multiplication times table, to learn powers of 2 to the power 2, 3 to the power 2, 4 to the power 2, and also cubes. Learn all these little things that can help you to do calculations quickly without needing a calculator.
Okay.
Yes. Next question.
Number two.
Number two. Number two says that in answering the next question, consider the passage that follows. In the period of 2001 to 2004, a survey of the state asset was conducted at a market value of 1,815 billion euros. Of these, as much as 7 billion from the so-called interest-bearing assets, consisting of four classes of assets: receivables and advances, shareholding, real estate, infrastructure, and concessions. The latter are enhanced by discounting the income streams from infrastructure, natural resources, and frequency spectrums. The most significant item is undoubtedly that relating to real estate assets, estimated at around 420 billion euros, as much as 60% of the entire interest-bearing assets. Now we have the question which says that knowing that between 2004 and 2005 interest-bearing assets grew by 5% and that non-interest bearing assets grew by 10%, how much is the state asset worth at the end of 2005 in billions of euros rounded up? Now, question
Mm-hmm.
two, we note that we have interest-bearing assets and non-interest bearing assets. And the question says that in 2000, between 2004 and 2005, they said the interest-bearing asset grew by 5%. And know that the interest-bearing asset, according to the text, is 700 billion. You agree? In line
Mm-hmm.
2 of the text. So if we say 700 billion,
It's 735.
good, times an increase of 5%, that's times 1.05, will be 735. Thank you. This is in billions, of course. Then they say the non-interest bearing asset. The non-interest bearing asset, remember that I have the total state asset, which was worth 1,815. So if you subtract the interest bearing asset, you should get the non-interest bearing asset. So if you say 1,815 minus 700 times, now the set, that section grew by 10%. So you're going to say times 1.1. So this will give you 1,226.5. So now the question is, how much is the state asset worth at the end of 2005? You have to add the interest or the new amount made from interest bearing and non-interest bearing. That will be 735 billion plus 122, 1,226.5 billion, which will give you 1,962 billion. And this corresponds to answer
Okay.
B.
Okay.
Next question.
Um, Number 6.
Number 6. All right, question 6. Question 6 gives the interval 0 less than or equals to x less than or equals to 1 over x less than or equals to 1. So they say for how many real numbers x does the following chain of inequality hold? For how many real numbers x? Now, now we know that since x is greater than or equals to 0, from here,
Mm-hmm.
so we say x is greater than or equals to 0. This will imply that 1 over x will also be greater than or equals to 0. Do you agree?
Yes.
Now, we can also agree that if x is greater than 1, for example, 2, take an example of 2, then this will imply that 1 over x, let me say 1 over x, will fall between 0 and 1.
But how can x be greater than 1? Then, yes, than 1.
Yes, we said if. If you consider a value of
Ah,
x that is greater than 1, for example, 2, you notice that the value of
well,
x, we are,
yes,
we
but
are, we are
it's
testing the different possibilities to see where the values of x
ah,
can go. Yes.
okay.
That's why we say if x is greater than 1, you'll see that the value of x over 1 will fall between 0 and 1. You'll agree.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
On the other hand, if we say rather that if x lies between 0 and 1, we took greater than 1. Now, if we take between 0 and 1, what would this imply for the value of 1 over x? You'll agree that 1 over x will always be greater than 1.
Yes.
Good. In this case, you see that both x and 1 over x are between 0 and 1. Therefore, there's how many possible values that can agree to this? The only possible case is when x equals to 1. And if x equals
Okay.
to 1, then 1 over x2 should be equals to 1 because 1 over 1 will give you 1. Therefore,
Okay.
there's only one that satisfies this inequality. Our answer will be B. If you try any other
Okay.
value, you'll notice that it doesn't work in the inequality. If you take values greater than 1, less than 1, it wouldn't work.
Okay.
All right.
Number 8.
Number 8. Let's see. Number 8 is a reading comprehension question. In answering the next question, consider the passage that follows. As we have seen, take or pay contracts are indexed to the price of oil and its derivatives. These have the function of underlying. This means that it does not reflect the correct trend of supply and demand in the real gas market, but is instead influenced by the volatility and contingencies of oil dynamics. An efficient market with a good level of flexibility and therefore liquidity would allow all these limits to be overcome. This cash will then be traded in on a spot market at the relevant hub. The question now is asked, what does an efficient market guarantee according to the text? Remember, I think the question here is from line 1, 2, 3, 4. Line 4, where they say an efficient market with a good level of flexibility and therefore liquidity will allow all these limits to be overcome. If they say an efficient market with a good level of flexibility and therefore liquidity, doesn't mean that it guarantees flexibility and liquidity. It doesn't. They say if it
Mm-hmm.
has with a good level of that, then what it would allow is a limitable outcome. The text doesn't tell us that it guarantees speed, liquidity, volatility, or flexibility. One thing you have to know about the Bocconi is that don't scare away from answer E, none of the above. Don't scare away from answer E.
Okay.
Sometimes question, I know that students have the reflex of not considering so much answer E, which is none of the above or all of the above, but many questions in the Bocconi are none of the answers that are indicated. So you have to be
Okay.
rid yourself of that fear of answer E and start considering it when you're solving. Sometimes you solve a question and you get to answer a result. When you look at the result in the options that's given, it's not found there. But answer E is indicated, and most students will panic and take an answer without giving it a second thought. So in this
Okay.
example here for question 8, our correct answer is A.
Okay. Question 9.
All right, question 9 says that A and B challenge each other to solve problems over 10 weeks starting on Monday. B knows that A tries to solve all and only problems from Monday to Thursday of each week, but he doesn't know if he succeeds or not. B is sure to be able to solve all problems except those of Sunday. Assuming B is right and taking into account that she intends to start work as late as possible, what day of the week is it that she must start to be sure of her victory? Let me break down the question a little bit. We're here on question 9. You are told that you have two people that are competing, A and B. All right? They are competing
Mm-hmm.
over a period of 10 weeks. And they give us an information that B says that he or she knows that A will be solving problems because here they're solving a problem every day, a problem every day. She knows that A will be solving problems from Monday to Thursday. That means that every week A will be solving how many problems?
4.
Or let's say for how many days will she solve a week if she solves from Monday to Thursday?
4.
So she will solve 4 problems per week. Now, if she has to do this at this pace for 10 weeks, how many total problems, maximum number of problems can she solve?
40.
4 times 10, which will give you 40 problems. Now, that means that if B wants to be sure to win A, what's the minimum number of problems that B has to solve?
7. 6.
Remember, they are solving over a period of 10 weeks. And at the end of 10 weeks, we are sure that A will have solved at most 40 problems. The question is that B
Ah,
wants to be sure to win, meaning that she has to solve above 40 problems. The question is this: what is the minimum number of problems that she needs to solve?
40. 41.
41. She needs to solve for minimum 41 problems. Now, next question you ask yourself is that how long does B need to solve 41 problems, knowing that B works or solves from Monday to Saturday according to the question? That means that she solves 6 days a week
Mm,
or six
mm-hmm.
problems per week. If we say 41 divided by 6, that will give us the number of weeks that she will work. Because if she's working 6 days a week, we can say 41 divided by 6 will give us 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But there's going to be some days left because 6 times 6 is 36. From 36 to 41, that will be how many days left?
Um,
41 minus 36.
31.
41 minus 36.
Ah, yes. About 5.
5 days.
Ah,
So
so
that means
Friday.
that B will have to solve for 6 weeks, 5 days in order to win over A. But the question goes further to say that how late does she need to start and still be sure to win? So let's take this line as a week. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks. We are going to start counting from the last week coming towards the first because we want to see how late she can start. If we are counting
Okay.
41 days. So this is 7, 7, no, sorry, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. That'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. This is the first 6 weeks that we calculated. Now, she has an extra 5 days. Remember that she starts on, or she ends on Saturday. We cannot count Sunday. So if this is Sunday of the fourth week and this is Monday of the fourth week, we'll start counting from Saturday. So from Saturday to Friday to Thursday to Wednesday to Tuesday. So we'll say
Mm-hmm.
from Saturday to Friday one day, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. That will give us a total of five
Ah,
days. So that means she needs to start on the fourth week
Tuesday.
on Tuesday. So Tuesday on the fourth week is the latest day that she needs to start and still be able to win. So this answer corresponds to answer B.
B.
All right. Next question.
Okay. Um, 10.
Repeat. I didn't get you, please.
10.
All right. Question 10. Question 10 says that if it takes Adele 2 hours to travel the road from home to C, so that telling us Adele the time to travel is 2 hours. and she travels from road to sea. How long does it take her brother knowing that he drives 40% slower? 40% slower means that he drives 40% slower of that other's time. 40% slower. How do we calculate that? We would say that distance is equals to speed times time, right? Or rate times time. You agree?
Yes.
From this, they tell us that the speed, therefore, here would be equals to, um, sorry, the time, the total
D
time.
over
Repeat?
distance over time.
Yes. Now, they gave us the time in this situation for 2 hours. Therefore, the speed here will be equals to the distance over 2. Let's call this
Mm-hmm.
V1. So this corresponds to the V of Adela. Now, the brother, they say 40% slower. 40% slower means that the speed will drop by 40%. So you'll be left with 60% of the speed. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means that the speed of the brother will be zero point 0.6 of V1.
Yes.
And we know that V1 is S over 2. So now we are looking for the time. The time will give us S over 0.6 V1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that time will be equals to S divided by zero point 0.6. Now we know that V1 is S over 2. So this T will give us 2S divided by zero point 0.6 S. So this will give us T to be equals to 2 over zero point 0.6. Now this is in hours.
Yes.
If we say 2 divided by zero point 0.6, it's like saying that 20 divided by 6. You agree?
Yes.
20 divided by 6, you know that 20 goes into 6 three times. So that will be 3 hours. And how many will be left? You'll be left with 2, which is one
Two.
third. You'll be left with 2 over
Okay.
6, which is one third. So one third of the time, one third of an hour is how many minutes? It's 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So with 3 hours, 20 minutes. So that corresponds to answer B.
Okay.
Next question.
Uh, number 12.
Number 12. All right. Number 12 says that the figure below shows the figure below shows the comparison between turnover achieved in 2020, sales in blue, and the estimated and that's estimated in the budget in red in euros. All right, let's look that closely. So we have sales in blue, budget in red. We have 4 quarters of the year. So they say, how much does the turnover achieved in 2010 differ from the budget of 2020? All right. And I've given different answer choices. What was your answer choice here in this question?
I said C.
C says the budget turnover exceeds that achieved by approximately 100,000 euros.
Yes.
100,000 euros. No. Now, what you see how they ask the question. How much does the turnover differ from the budget in the same year? So an easy way to do
Mm-hmm.
it would be to add the budget and the sales and to compare. Is that what you did?
Yes.
So when you added the sales, we have the sales in blue. The first we have around 310, right? We have
Yes.
310,000 plus the second is around 470. The next is 300 and is it 60? Yes, 60 is
No, 75.
okay, good. That's better estimation. 375. Okay, plus 310 plus I think that's all.
That's it.
That's it. So if you add all of this, 310 plus 470 plus 375 plus 310, what do you get when you added all of that?
Um,
1,465,000.
uh, yes, more than a million. Okay.
You need the exact value so I can do an accurate comparisons. So we say this is sales.
Okay.
Now, the budget will have 390 plus 300
360.
good plus
That's
290
209.
plus 325. What do you get?
Um,
1,365,000. Now we can look at the answers more closely.
ah, there's 1,000.
The difference is like 100,000.
The turnover exceed the budget approximately by 1,000 euros.
Good. That corresponds to
Um, A.
good. Answer A, correct.
Okay. Number for 13.
The next one is 13.
Yes.
Yesterday, did I send you the diagram of the trigonometric circle?
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
Okay. So question 13, it asks us what's the range of the sine, what's the range, in what range is the sine 17 pi over 36? You know that pi is equals to 180, correct?
Mm-hmm.
If pi equals to 180, then 17 pi over 36 will be equals to 17 times 180 over 36. 18 cancels here 10, 18 goes here 2, 2 goes here 1, 2 goes here 5. We'll have 17 times 5, which is 85 degrees. You agree?
17 times. Ah, yes. Okay.
So if you go to that trigonometric circle, you will notice that We have 90 here, 0, 180, 220. If you have it in front of your eyes, you will see that
Okay, so it's between 1 and 1.5.
correct.
So C.
Exactly. This 85 degrees. So the answer will be C.
Okay. Then 16.
16. 16 says that for how many pairs of integers, therefore also negative, is a product equal to the sum? Now, if they say the product equals to the sum, let's say two integers a and b, the product of a and b will be a, b, and the sum will be equal to a plus b. And I'm asking for a pair. There are only two possibilities for this in the whole of the different combinations of integers. Either you get a 2 and a 2, or a 0 and a 0. Because when you take a product of 0 and 0, you get 0. If you add, you get 0. 2 by 2.
I only had 2.
Yes, so we have this 2.
Okay.
So that your answer will therefore be C.
18.
Question 18. So the figure below shows the number of items sold in a shopping mall month by month for 5 product categories. All right. Then they say which of the following statement is true? What was your answer here?
C.
C. C says that the peak of clothing sold is in September. Let's see. The peak of clothing sold in September because clothing,
No.
the,
It's
the word
E.
clothing is
I got it. E.
abiglamento. All right.
Yes, but it's E because D is true as well.
More
So
than one
it's E.
options of the statement are true.
Hmm.
Yes, that's true. Did you
Okay.
notice that
20.
about E? Did you notice that about E?
What?
Did you notice answer E when you were going through your answer choices? Or
Yes.
when you found answer one of the answers answered C, you were just satisfied and you went forward.
Yeah, that's what I
That's a trap. You have to be careful.
did. Yes. Are there going to be questions in Italian,
No, no,
or
no.
there will be all?
It's just that the question that I'm presenting to you, there were questions that were originally in Italian. That's why you see the graphs have some words in Italian. So
Okay.
the questions were translated to English. That's why they maintained some Italian names basically on graphs. You'll notice that on graphs, but all the wordings are in English.
Okay.
So your test that you're going to write will be purely in English.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about
Uh,
that.
20.
All right, question 20 is a reading comprehension. So it says that the sample analyzed consists of 427 companies belonging to all economic sectors. classified according to the definition of small and medium-sized enterprises provided by the European Union in 2005. The high percentage of small companies, 75%, is noted, compared to 20% represented by medium-sized ones. However, it is believed that the sample is statistically significant and suitable for the analysis carried out, and that the presence of such a large number of small companies does not represent a problem, since it is likely that they are those with a greater interest in the issue of risk management and a greater possibility of growth in this sense. On the other hand, medium-sized companies are assumed to be at a more advanced stage in the evolution of these systems. The question goes as follows. Knowing that 75% of the sample is made up of small companies and that 20% is made up of the medium-sized companies, what does the remaining 5% consist of? This is what I want to tell you whenever you're answering a reading comprehension question in the Bocconi. Stick to the limit, to the boundaries of the text. Don't introduce a new piece of information that you think is logical to it. You are going to miss the point. Remember, our Bocconi is about how logical, how can you stay in the logic of the text of the question that I asked you. Whenever you're doing a reading comprehension, don't carry previous knowledge, don't carry expert knowledge, don't carry general knowledge into the text.
Okay.
For example, this question, many students failed because they told me that the right answer was A, large companies.
So it's A?
It's not. The text doesn't talk about large companies.
Yeah, okay. I said E.
Really?
Yes.
But the answer is E, correct?
Ah, okay. Okay, I got 21 wrong as well.
21. All right, let's see. 21 says that knowing that the arc of a circular sector measures 8 pi and that the area is equal to 4 over 9 of the entire circle, how much does the area of the circle measure? Now, if this is our circle, that's not a good circle. Okay, that's better. If that's a circle, and it's talking about a sector, that means it's like you cut out a piece of cake. All right. You notice that the characteristic of the sector that you have, we're going to indicate in red our arc length. That's our arc length in red. Now, you notice
Okay.
that if you divide, if you take a ratio, the ratio of the angle of the sector over the angle of the circle, that ratio would be equals to the length of the of arc divided by circumference. The ratio will be the same. And that ratio will also be the same as the area of sector over the area of circle. Have you gotten it? I repeat. You will notice that on
Yes,
a
please.
circle, when you cut out a piece of cake out of a circle, the
Mm-hmm.
area of the sector will be the same as the area of the ratio. If you take the ratio of area of the sector over area of the circle will be the same as the length of arc of the sector over the circumference, which will be the same as the angle of the sector over the angle of the circle. And the equation here gives us that this value is 4 over 9.
Okay.
Now, that means that we can pick any relationship and equate it to 4 over 9. For the interest of what we are going to do here, we're going to take the arc length. They told us that the arc length is 8 pi, and we know that the circumference of a circle, the formula for the circumference is 2 pi radius. So we equate this to 4 over 9. 2 pi cancels here 4, and this 4 cancels with this 4. That means 1 over r equals to 1 over 9, and therefore r equals to 9. So that means that the radius of your circle is 9. Now, if they ask you for the area, you know that the area of circle is pi radius square, which is going to give you 81 pi, which corresponds to answer C.
Sorry. Can you just go up a little bit on your screen? 2 seconds. Thank you. But the 8 pi, it corresponds to the red part, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That means if you take
Okay, so
the arc length over the total circumference, that ratio should give you 4/9.
okay. Okay, thank you. 22.
Question 22. This is a reading comprehension question.
Yes.
Fintech is what we are referring to when we deal with technological innovation in the financial arena. This label is associated with the use of internet, mobile, cloud, and open source software to carry out banking and investment activities more efficiently than with traditional models. Several businesses areas are involved: banking, which accounts for 73% of the investment made, investment services with 9%, other related financial services at 9%. Insurance companies were no exception, with 9% of investment raised, but with a significant lower incidence of funded startups. That's around 5% of the total. Company compared to the previously mentioned sectors. The 9% is what we now call insurtech. Coming from the fintech wave of digital transformation, insurance technology is receiving more attention month after month. Traditionally, the
No, but
insurance industry has suffered from a lack of agility and dynamism, which has been fertile ground for many startups that, based on new technologies, are redefining the role of insurance companies in the eyes of customers. Simplicity, multi-channel approach, and focus on customer experience are the cornerstone on which the insurtech paradigm is creating a new insurance environment. Together with the high level goal of lightning and complex and slow organization and IT structures of the big players. Now on the question. That's a long text. Which of
question
the
A.
following statement is false according to the text?
It's A.
What's your first answer?
It's A.
Yes, it is. A
I don't
is
know why
false
I.
because it says that fintech is both financial and non-financial sectors, which
Yeah,
is
it was
not true.
only for financial.
Yes, I can see it in the first line.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. 23.
23. How many points of intersections are there between the line that and the circumference that? Okay, so we have the line y equals to minus 2x plus 6 and the circumference 2x squared plus 2y squared minus 6x minus 7y equals to 0. So to find the point of intersection, you just need to take this line and you put it into this circle and you see what you get. All right. So let's try that. 2x squared plus 2 into minus 2x plus 6 squared minus 6x minus 7 into minus 2x plus 6 is equals to 0. So we get 2x squared plus 2 into 4x squared. That's minus
Uh,
24x plus 36 minus 6x minus or plus 14x minus 42 equals to 0. Now we see that 2 is common in every term here. We can eliminate 2 all through. If we divide 2 all through, we get to simplify our work. X squared plus 4x squared minus 24x plus 36 minus 3x plus 7x minus 21 equals to 0. Are you following?
okay.
So from this we
Yes.
get 5x squared, then negative 24x minus 3x will give you negative 27x plus 7x will give you 20x. No, sorry, give you minus 20, not plus.
20.
Minus 20x. Then you have minus 21 plus 36, which will give you Uh, 36
15.
minus 21. That's 9 plus 6. That's 15.
15.
Plus 15 equals to 0. Now, just from this equation, I know that if I solve this equation, I should have either two solutions or a single
Mm-hmm.
solution. Not to waste time to solve it. What I can do is that I can divide the whole equation by 5 to get x squared
There
minus
are two. There are two.
minus 4x
Because the determinant is positive.
because good.
The
Look at the
determinant is
determinant.
positive, so there are
If the determinant is greater than
okay.
0, we have two solutions. That's excellent.
Because I didn't know I was supposed to put the first equation in the circumference. I thought I needed to find like uh, on the second one what the y was equal to, so I could do like minus 2x plus 6 equals something else, like a
So
x squared and all.
this is like a circle. For this question, we have like a circle and a line that passes through it like this. So it cuts the
Mm-hmm.
circle at 2 points.
Okay.
Yes,
The last one is 25.
25. All right. Would you read for us?
In answering the next question, consider the passage that follows. An important aspect is that concerning stock options, while in the Anglo-Saxon world, they are still the largest source of profit for top managers of companies. In Italy, the impact due to the use of stock option plans is decidedly limited. In fact, in the 2 year period 2012 2014 13, only 43 companies shares 20.98 of the users analyzed here issued options plans for their top managers. Considering, on the other hand, the directors who have used this tool to obtain extra compensation, consider that only 7.43% of the sample managing directors have actually exercised at least part of the options in their possessions, for an average of 1,014,364 options. The tone taken by the author towards the use of stock options in Italy tends to, I said, analytical.
Okay, I want you to take the following points about the different tones. Okay, I think it's easy to identify a tone that is positive or a tone that is complaining. Then take this for a descriptive tone. Note the following points. Are you there?
What? Sorry, what do I need to do?
I said this. Take the following points, the following notes
Mm-hmm.
on how to identify the tone of an author. We will start with one
Okay.
descriptive tone.
Critical, but it's not critical.
I want you to take down the points so you can apply in every question, not just this one.
Okay.
We will start with a descriptive tone.
Analytical and
No, I'm giving you
well,
points you need
just
to note in your notes. Take this down. Copy this down.
okay. Okay. Sorry.
Yes. A descriptive tone is a tone that is objective and neutral. So the first point we say it is objective and neutral. The second point is that it lists fact, events, or characteristics. Then you will notice that here there is a minimal interpretation. An example, take this example. The novel is set in the 19th century England as follows. The novel is set The novel is set in the 19th century England as follows. 19th century England and follows the life of a young woman navigating through societal expectations. The novel is set in the 19th century England and follows the life of a young woman navigating societal 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 expectations. That's an example of a tone that is purely descriptive.
Okay.
Now the second is analytical. Analytical tone, it breaks down information in order to explore the relationship. It breaks down information. So it is concerned with why and how things work. So it goes about to find out why. Ask yourself the question, why does this? All right. If you want to take an example for the same in the same context that I gave you the first, would you like to take it down?
Mm-hmm.
The protagonist struggles. The protagonist struggles has struggles. The protagonist struggles reflect broader societal limitations. Reflects broader societal limitations imposed on women during the 19th century.
And what? All right.
I said
And pose.
the protagonist struggles reflect broader societal limitations imposed on women during the 19th century,
Okay. Thank you.
suggesting that personal freedom was often constrained. Suggesting that personal freedom was often constrained by class and gender norms. By class and gender norms. You see, this is questioning. This is reflecting, trying to explain the why and examine different components, look patterns, causes, relationships, exploring the significance. That's an analytical tone. The third, were you smiling about my example?
No, no, I
Ah,
just didn't understand. I wrote something that was just completely
something else.
that didn't mean anything. Yeah.
All right, the third is a critical tone. How is a critical tone? The critical tone is used to evaluate or make judgment. Used to evaluate or make judgments about ideas or arguments. So, an example of a critical tone. While the novel highlights gender inequality, while the novel highlights gender inequality, its portrayal of male characters often lack depth. Its portrayal of male characters often lack depth. potentially reinforcing simplistic stereotypes. Potentially reinforcing simplistic stereotypes. You see that in a critical tone, the author gives us his opinion, his judgment, his position, what he thinks. An ethical tone that breaking down a piece of information, that trying to understand the why and the how. A descriptive tone that just being factual. There's no much interpretation involved, just objective. Yes. If I say Louise
Okay.
has blonde hair, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's antonym, it's descriptive tone here.
No, we wouldn't say, let's see, it's descriptive tone because if you go to the line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if you go to line 6,